We're looking at mile marker 4, practice 1, question 6. In this question, you are asked to find the area of the shaded region. I have no doubt that many people will make the mistake of still finding the area of the unshaded region just because it looks easier. I don't know. So we want to look at this large shaded region. Remember, this is called a sector. So what we're finding is the area of a sector whose central angle is 270 degrees when we're given the radius of the circle is 10. So since we're comparing area here, this is gonna be a lot like problem 5, except we're making the comparison using the area instead of the circumference of the circle. So let's go ahead and set up our proportion here. We're gonna compare the sector to the entire circle. Sorry, I have to hold my paper down. It's moving as I write. To the entire area of the circle. And we really want to set up a proportion where we're comparing the degrees, the ratio of the degrees, and we're setting that equal to the ratios of the two areas. So keep in mind that, again, the ratio of degrees of the sector to the whole circle is proportional to the area of the sector to the whole circle. All right, so if our sector is 270 degrees, we're gonna write 270 over 360. We know our circle is 360 degrees. The area of the sector is what we're trying to find. So we're gonna write this as X for a moment. We also need to find the area of the circle first. It's not given to us in this problem. As I'm sure you recall, area is equal to pi times the radius squared. So if I tell you that the radius is 10, I need only square that number. 10 squared is 100 to see that the area is 100 times pi. Now, if I wanted a decimal approximation, I could multiply that back out and get 314 or so would be the area of our circle. But as the directions state at the top of the page, we're going to leave our answer in terms of pi, which means we're not multiplying by pi. So in our proportion, we're going to write 100 pi here. And just so I don't get confused or I don't forget pi from my answer, I'm going to go ahead and say X times pi up at the top of my proportion. So now, again, all that's left to do is use cross multiplication. I have my calculator handy this time. So when we cross multiply, this time, unlike question 5, if you watched that video, I'm going to show you what this would look like if we leave pi in our cross multiplication. So I'm going to do 270 times 100 pi, and 100 pi is just multiplication. So this is really 3 numbers being multiplied together. That's going to be equal to our cross product, 360 times x, also times pi. And what's going to happen is we could divide both sides of this equation by pi, and the pi's will just cancel each other out. So if you watched the video for question 5, I said it really wasn't necessary to use pi when you cross multiply. This is why it's not necessary. Okay, so 270 times 100, we can use our calculator, or we know that's 27,000. And that's now equal to 360 times x. So we're going to divide 27,000 by 360. We'll divide both sides by 360 to isolate x. And we get 75 when we do that. So 75 is equal to x. Now remember, 75 is not the area of the circle, or excuse me, of the sector. We said the entire circle itself is about 314 square units. So if I just look at that huge section, I know that couldn't only be 75. However, 75 pi is the area of the sector. So when it asks for the area of the shaded region, 75 pi is the correct answer.